the road? I have the microphone, as Adam Sandler said. Because what John did when he was the Bema guest is not only did he do that, but he also read the remarks. You're giving the Devar Torah anyway.
Oh, sure. I'll do that. You mean
So,
the announcements?
the announcements, I mean, okay. You don't have to do that. I'm supposed to do this part, but just read that. Okay. I suggest that you stay on this side only because.
Does this microphone work also? I have to kind of get close to it though, right? Okay. Hello, Travis.
I'll look at you when we need to get this over, because we opened it about 4 times. Okay.
I'm here for you.
Let's not get carried away.
Oh, it's true, Pete.
People, you can talk after the service. Come on. This is why they say the difference between Jews and Englishmen. Englishmen say goodbye, they just leave and don't say goodbye. Jews say goodbye and don't leave. Now, please be seated. Shabbat Shalom. Okay, we're going to lead off. And I know we do this all the time, but for some reason I just like opening the service with Hine Matov, and that's what we're going to do. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Please turn to pages 2 and 3. And Lisa's going to light the candles for us. They're already there. I got here at 1:45. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Thank you. We're going to turn to page 6. And we're going to read responsively. At the top of the page, I'll read the first paragraph, you read the second. We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat, Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Please rise for the Baruch. Yai la 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Baruch et Adonai Hamevorach Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Hamevorach Le'olam Ba'ed Hamevorach Hamevorach Le'olam Ba'ed. Please be seated. On page 30, we're going to read in English in the middle of the page and finish together, and we will read the prayer in Hebrew at the bottom. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day, light, and from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. If any of you are contemplating cataract surgery, talk to me first. Boy, it sure messes up your reading. Okay, we're going to now go to page 32, and together we'll sing Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Ahavta, Amcha Ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Al Kain Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbenu uvkumenu nasiach mechukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratcha v'mitzvotecha le'olam ba'ed ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu Uvahem nege yomam balayla, nege yomam לעולם בלילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמי. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל. We're going to turn to page 34, and again, all who are able to, please rise as we sing the watchword of our faith, the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Please be seated. Somebody asked me, by the way, why I don't play guitar along to the Ve'ahavta. I guess I could work out the changes, but the point is that this, you've heard me mention this before, this prayer comes straight out of the Torah, and as such, I just never have felt comfortable doing this anyway but a cappella. Of course, the fact that I went to day school also may have had something to do with it, but together we'll start with the Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha, vedibarta bam, veshivtecha beveitecha, uvlechtecha vaderech, uveshachbecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, vehayu letotafot beinenecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, Uvisharecha leman tiskeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai vitem kadoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem mi eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem emet. We'll go to page 39. We will read responsively at the top of the page. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot. That there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. Page 40, and we're going to sing together, Micha Mocha. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi chamocha ne'edar ba'kodesh. Nora tehilot osefele. Malchutecha ra'u vanecha, bokeyam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze'eli anu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Page 43 at the top of the page, we read together. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 44, probably my favorite melody that I learned when I came to this shul, because it sure beat the heck out of the one that I knew before. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael od hi leolam, od hi leolam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uval yom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. We're going to turn to page 46, and all who are able to rise for, I've got to remember to call it tefillah, which means prayer. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi ki tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, טובים וקוני הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצליח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יעלוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. Please be seated. Page 55, we'll read together at the top of the page. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt and find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Top of page 57. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer together. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. Page 58, and as I normally do, I will read the Hebrew, and then after that, in the middle of the page, we'll read the English, and we'll do the prayer at the bottom. מודים אנחנו לך שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואימותינו לעולם ועד. סוף חיינו מגן ישענו, אתה הוא לדור ודור. נודה לך ונספר תהילתך על חיינו המסורים בידיך, ועל נשמותינו הפקודות לך, ועל ניסיך שבכל יום עמנו, ועל נפלותיך וטובותיך, שבכל עת ערב ובוקר וצהריים. הטוב כי לא חלו רחמך, והמרחם כי לא תמו חסדיך, מעולם קיווינו לך. Your turn. Baruch atah Adonai Tov Shimcha Ulcha Na'eh Lehodot. Shalom Rav together on page 60. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Ki atahu melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov ve'enecha levarech et amcha Yisrael v'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. We're going to take a moment for silent prayer, at which point I will take us into Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh Shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh Shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh Shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. We're going to turn to page 253, which, as I've mentioned before, may be the most important prayer that we do, because we're praying for the welfare of others. And that's supposed to be the highest mitzvah according to Rabbi Hillel. At least I took the interpretation of what he actually said that way. And we have a list of people that we are wishing a better health, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, whatever. If there's anybody that you feel needs to be added to the list, feel free to add them when I'm done reading this. Lev Diggerman, Teresa Todd, Lila Wilson, Paul Tackett, Eric Gershkovich, Al Unger, Beth Haberman, Fran Skall, Robin Unger, Alvin Casson, Glenn Fasnacht, my buddy John Gage, David Rosenberg, Leonard Glazier, the hostages who are still being held in Gaza, the family of the hostages who are worried sick about their loved ones, those who are recovering from wounds inflicted during the terror attack in Israel on October 7th. Middle of page 253. Mi sheberach avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mikor habracha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. So that I don't forget, I want to thank everyone who has helped tonight. Lisa Graves with the candle blessing, Travis Duvall doing sound, and our Bema guest is Jen Jacobson, who has graciously agreed to do the Devar Torah tonight, because I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing about Rabbi Sachs. So with no further ado, the mic's yours.
And I'd like to thank Aviv for inviting me to deliver this evening's Devar Torah. Shabbat Shalom to everybody. While I have spoken from the Bima before, this is my first actual Devar Torah. And as I prepared, of course, me being me, I looked up how to write a Devar Torah. I learned a lot. I learned that the person who delivers a Devar Torah is called the darshan, the interpreter or explainer. And the interpretation offered is known as the drash. Drash is actually a new word to me, and I think I love it, drash. When I texted a friend that I was preparing a sermon, he asked, "What are you drashing about?" So I responded, "Finding meaning in the trauma that changes the arc and trajectory of life, as Joseph did. Reconciliation, and I'm going to try to connect it all to Rumi." So let's see how it goes. I learned that as darshan, I have the option of discussing the parsha, the weekly Torah portion as a whole, or zeroing in on certain words or phrases. This week's parsha is referred to as Vayigash from Genesis, 44:18 to 47:27. Vayigash is the first word, and he drew near or approached as in Judah approached Joseph. Judah pleads with Joseph to free Benjamin and offers himself as a replacement. Joseph reveals himself to his brothers and forgives them for selling him into slavery. Joseph says, "I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold to Egypt. And now don't be troubled. Don't be chagrined because you sold me here, for it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you. There have already been 2 years of famine in the land, and there remain 5 more years without plowing or harvesting. So God sent me ahead of you to assure your survival in the land and to keep you alive for a great deliverance." Let me repeat. When Joseph reveals himself, he says, "Don't be troubled. Don't be chagrined because you sold me here, for it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you." I'd like to zero in on how Joseph spoke to his brother. We know that Joseph and his brothers had a history of enmity, animosity, and mutual distrust. But at this moment, Joseph speaks to his brother Judah, who is filled with shame and remorse. He speaks to him with wisdom and comfort, reflecting on what they had done in the past. Joseph believing that God had a plan for him, that it was God's will to save Jacob's family from famine and allow the children of Israel to thrive in Goshen, recasting the situation to find greater meaning. So what is the message to take away from this parsha? Finding good in the bad? The silver lining, if you will? Hope and hopefulness? Is thinking that misfortune, loss, or catastrophe is God's plan a Jewish response to suffering? Does that belief help or hurt? Does everything happen for a reason? Reconciliation means the restoration of friendly relations. It also means the action of making one view or belief compatible with another. I think that the Parsha teaches that reconciliation is always possible, especially with time and space and changes in perspective, a willingness to hold more than one feeling or idea at a time. We can be angry with someone and love them. We can be hurt by another and acknowledge that we too were hurtful. I look back and think about the roles that I have played in conflict and estrangement. There are several members of my extended family that I just don't talk to anymore. Some stuff went down, and it was hard to get over. I think this happens a lot in families. As I continued to do my work and to learn about myself, my motivations, my vulnerability, my wounds, my triggers, my strengths, I do see things differently when I look back. I can forgive myself for the pain and anger that I have felt, and I can forgive myself for needing to step away from some relationships. I'm learning to set boundaries so that rather than have to develop a thicker and thicker skin, I respect my sensitivities that are part of who I am. As Joseph did, I find meaning in the trauma that has changed the arc and trajectory of my life. The trauma that has affected my life has served as major plot points in my story. The difference now is that I have a much greater awareness of what's happening when it's happening. The trauma may be in the car, but it's not driving the car, if you know what I mean. I felt connections with this week's Torah portion. I felt connections between the portion and a particular poem by the 13th century poet Rumi. Now, he died 816 years ago, but it has been said that across time, place, and culture, Rumi's poems articulate what it feels like to be alive. Coleman Barks is the translator whose work sparked an early 21st century American Rumi Renaissance and made Rumi the best-selling poet in the United States. Just now, Barks wrote in 2014, I feel there is a strong global movement, an impulse that wants to dissolve the boundaries that religions have put up and end the sectarian violence. It is said that people of all religions came to Rumi's funeral in 1273 because they said he deepens our faith wherever we are. I'd like to close by reading The Guest House by Rumi. I reread it often, and I share it often with people who are going through something hard, which seems to be a lot lately. This poem came to mind when thinking of this week's Parsha because it makes me feel hopeful, even when I'm feeling difficult feelings. And the poem helps me, like the Parsha has, it helps me sit with these feelings rather than try to distract myself from them. And like the Parsha, this poem reminds me that maybe God or the universe does have a plan for me. The Guest House. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Shabbat Shalom. Aviv has asked me to read the announcements while I'm up here. Shabbat services begin tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. On Saturday, January 20th, at 7 o'clock at Comstock Hall here in Louisville, come see Exile, music of the early modern Jewish diaspora. I'm going to add an announcement. I'm going off script. On July 12th, please join us here at Temple Shalom for the MLK Shabbat, where we will be joined by friends from Spirit-filled New Life Church. MLK Shabbat on January 12th. Did I say July? Did I really say July? That's hilarious. I meant January. January 12th. Yes. And the choir from the church will be here, which will be really cool. Yeah. I'm helping organize that, so plug. And on January 26th, there's a guest speaker, Tony McAleer. He'll be here at Temple Shalom at 6 o'clock, and his subject will be The Cure for Hate, Interfaith Understanding. He has a documentary film, The Cure for Hate. It traces, he is a former neo-Nazi and Holocaust denier, and he has gone on quite a journey of atonement to bear witness to the horrors of Auschwitz and examine the through line to modern-day violent extremism. So we're going to watch the film and then have a conversation afterward. So I hope you can join us. There'll be other faith leaders here. There's actually a series of events around this film in Louisville, so you could come to this one and others if you'd like. And on January 28th, it's a Sunday, 12:45, Temple Shalom's Tu B'Shvat Seder. Rabbi Chotner will lead a participatory Seder using a Tu B'Shvat Haggadah. Benji will lead us in song, and we will drink 4 cups of wine and eat a variety of fruits, dried and fresh, and nuts, and no peanuts. If you've never been to a Tu B'Shvat Seder before, has anyone never been to one? They're really cool. They're really fun. You should come. Yeah, check it out. They're lovely. I do love, and people are like, what, January? Why are we, but it's not cold everywhere in the world, remember that. Thanks to Aviv for being our song leader and lay leader for tonight's service. And thanks to Travis again. I know we're double thanking, but that's okay. And thanks to everyone for coming. It's lovely to be here. Aviv, I'm now turning things back over to you.
Okay. All right. We're going to page 282. And one last time, we're going to open the ark, and you guys. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'ateit gdula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu k'goyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu ki mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu noteh shamayim ve'yosed haaretz umoshav yikaro b'shamayim ima'ah ushchinatu zo Ushchinatu zo begave meromin hu Eloheinu einod emet malkeinu efes zulato kakatuv betorato v'yadata hayom v'hashevota Elevavecha, ki Adonai hu Elohim, bashamayim mimal, ve'al haaretz, mitachat einod, ve'ne'emar, Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad ushemo echad ushemo echad. Please be seated. Every once in a while, I'm just not in the mood for one of the readings. This is one of those nights. And although I know several black gospel songs which deal with the topic of death, there's one that I occasionally do because it's a lot easier to learn than the other ones. This is a Mississippi Fred McDowell tune. I've done this at least 3 or 4 times before, and it's called You Got to Move. And as you catch on, you can come in with the chorus. You got to move, you got to move, you got to move, child, you got to move. When the Lord gets ready, well, you got to move. You might be rich, you might be poor, you might be high, child, you might be low. When the Lord gets ready, well, you got to move. You got to move, got to move, child. You got to move when the Lord gets ready. Well, you got to move. You see that person walking the street. You see the policeman, he's walking that beat. But when the Lord gets ready, well, you got to move. You got to move. You got to move. You got to move, child. You got to move when the Lord gets ready. Well, you got to move. You got to move. You got to move. You got to move, child. You got to move when the Lord gets ready. Well, you got to move. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. I'm going to read the Yortzeit list tonight. As I read your loved one's name, if you are here to say Kaddish, feel free to rise. After I read the list, I'm going to extend my hand as the rabbis do, so that all of you can add somebody in case we missed anyone. Edmund Aaron, the father of Beverly Tarbus. Reva Carrico, wife of Alan Carrico. Jeffrey Charnas, father of Mark Charnas. Helen Deems, mother of Anita Fleischman. Rose Epstein, grandmother of Karen Bloom. Evie Feynman, aunt of Robin Unger. Joseph Gaffin, father of Elaine Cummings. Lena Kellner, aunt of Esther Brown. David Kling, father of Cookie Honigberg, grandfather of Carrie Hatch. Herman Landau, friend of Sheila Wallace and my parents. Lottie Michelle, mother of Joan Epstein. Marjorie Spire, mother of Shirley Yussman. Marilyn Waterman, mother of Ann Waterman. We have Yartzeit records for those with plaques and no observers. This is one of the reasons we all say Kaddish together, so, to cover those who have no one left. Jacob H. Simons, Gail Zaman, Meyer Diamond, Max G. Morris. Is there anyone that was overlooked? At this point, please stand up on page 294 as we repeat the Kaddish together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Bagala uvisman kariv imru amen. Yehi shmei rabam uvorach leolam leolmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha brichu. La'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata. Damiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Please be seated. We're going to turn to page 341. I'm been bummed out. We're going to do something else. This is why 40 years later I still refuse to play Inagata Davida. Lo yisak goy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisak goy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisak goy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisak goy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisak goy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisak goy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Shabbat Shalom. You know what? I'm serious. Would you consider doing another Debar for a while down